Welcome to the video that's going to give tips on how to go about sharing slides with your students. I share a lot of class slides with my entire class to be editors and to share their work so they can show off what they do and provide feedback to their peers throughout this process. So here's an example of a unit I do. It's called Getting to Know You. And then the students can access their class by clicking on these links. So what I do is I have them complete an individual assignment first. That way, if something happens on the shared Google slide, then I can go ahead and revert by going to File, Version History, and then choose See Version History, and then I would resort to the original. So I always tell students, be careful, because if you mess up the entire slideshow, I have to revert to the original and you're all going to have to do a little bit of work. So I would go back to this, and then I would choose Restore, and the kids would have to start over. So by restoring the version, I would choose Restore, and now it's back to its original. They would go to their individual assignment that they have access to only. They would click on an image, do Control A to select all, Control C, and then they would go to their assigned slide, and here's the list of students. They would locate their slide number. They would then go to that slide and do Control V, and then we'd start this whole process over. I rarely have to do this. Students usually do a pretty good job, especially if you let them know that if you mess up this project, everyone's going to have to work harder. So they try to be respectful of their peers. So that's an example of how I would set up links to shared Google Slides. Here's another one. We do Photoshop. All my students in 7th and 8th grade have access to these. They would click on the period and then they would go set up their slide. I'll show you some examples of Photoshop done in the past, and here is student work. And so the kids came through and provided feedback to their peers. Here's an example of a project students do using Canva to make environmental quotes. If I had to revert to the original and kids had to start over, it wouldn't be that big of a deal because they should have the image already on their computer. All they would have to do is go to that slide, replace image, upload from computer, and then go locate their image. Here's another example of how I get slides to my students. This is a photography unit, so if I click here, you can see that this is a slideshow that was shared with my class, and they actually did work on this. They're supposed to add images based on the technique, and students came through and provided feedback based on their knowledge of photo techniques. So before doing this unit, you need to make it really clear that they must only edit their slide and provide constructive and positive feedback to their peers. Let them know that if an error occurs, you can go in and you can investigate by going to version history, and you can see based on the color coding of if a student had made modifications. You can see the color coding. If it's so bad, you would literally have to revert to the original, and students do not want to have to do it more than once. This concludes the session with getting slideshows to your entire class so they can be editors and share their work. Until next time, you have a wonderful day.